Today I did something I have never done before in my life. I have set up a funding page on Gofundme.com to solicit donations to help me with expenses connected with my new cancer diagnosis. And I'm not embarrassed about this. This is necessary. I have just lost my income. But it is a huge departure for me, because for 25 years I have served as a free public information source, asking for no funding, even though I am collecting information at my own expense and essentially distributing it for free. Up until now, I've never asked for donations. So this is a new thing for me. I'm still kind of feeling it out. The GoFundMe page, you can find a link to it down in the description below. Also a link on my Facebook page and on any website pages I set up. And this is basically to defer costs that are going to be relating to medical expenses and my standard living expenses. These are relatively modest expenses because insurance will end up paying for most of my medical care. So the necessity for this funding page all stems from an incident 1 week ago on July 4th, 2018, when I suffered a seizure on the highway in Colorado. I was driving a small RV across Colorado when I had a seizure and I blacked out. Fortunately, the accident was not serious. I was unconscious, but I must have somehow been able to bring the car to a stop. It was not seriously damaged. I was not significantly injured. But I remained unconscious. They had to break a window of the RV to get me out. My first memory is waking up in an ambulance heading to the hospital. I was taken to a hospital in Grand Junction, Colorado, in western Colorado, where I was held for 2 nights. And in the process, they ran CAT scans of my head and my chest, and they found all sorts of stuff that doesn't belong there. Clearly metastasized cancer throughout my chest cavity and throughout my head, my body, and possibly my kidneys. Total surprise to me. I never suspected in a million years that I had cancer. I did suspect there was something wrong because for 2 months prior to the seizure, I had kind of a mystery illness where I lost my appetite and I felt very weak. I spent 3 weeks in Europe and hardly left my hostel bunk because I had no energy to go out and do things. So I knew that something was wrong. I thought it was just a passing neurological condition. It turns out to be something much more serious. So I had this blackout on July 4th, and that effectively ended my 10-year driving career. So for 10 years, I've supported myself as a cross-country driver of cars and pets, serving people who needed their cars and pets moved from New York to Florida or across the country or even to and from Alaska. So I had this was enough. This was a good living for me. It served my needs because I had lots of opportunity to think as I drove and lots of opportunity to stop and work on all my various creative projects. It was a good deal for me, and it ended 1 week ago. So as of 1 week ago, it just takes one blackout, one seizure on the highway and one blackout on the highway to prove that I can no longer drive professionally ever again. So that, apart from whatever is going on inside me, that simple fact is that I have lost my job and lost my primary source of income. Any other income I have is just so minor that it's not worth considering. I, have $10. I might earn $10 to $50 here and there selling something like stock videos, or maybe 1 or 2 copies of my my online books, but none of that has ever amounted to more than a total of $100 per month. My main bulk of my income has been from this driving service, which was enough for me. It supported my lifestyle, which is this itinerant lifestyle where I was essentially homeless for 10 years and moving from drive to drive, spending as much as 2 months out of the year traveling overseas. I saw a lot of this driving service, and essentially funded my travel overseas, where I visited some 87 countries. All of that is over now as of 1 week ago, because I can't drive anymore. I'm so weak. Although my brain is still working, I'm still alert. I still feel good as long as I'm sitting down. I no longer have the energy to travel overseas, so my years of overseas travel seem to be over. Now we have this slate of doctor's appointments. Starting today, I have a series of appointments with oncologists, and we've already had a biopsy of one of my lumps to see what kind of cancer is there. And over the next week or so, we're going to discover what my treatment options are, if any, how much time I might have left, if any. On the surface, things look pretty damn bad because we have not caught this at an early stage. This is obviously already advanced to a very late stage, so we don't even know where the cancer started. All we know is that it is spread throughout my body. One saving grace is that right now I feel pretty good. And I feel highly energized by this. I'm not in the slightest bit depressed. You don't find me moping over my potential loss of life, because I've lived a rich life. And this is more, to me, is getting me energized, getting me focused on what is really important, and making sure that I clean up important projects. And as I recorded in the video that I shot yesterday, a very long 1.5-hour video, I talked about what I think is my most important project to date, which is a book called Demographic Doom, about the demographic problems facing planet Earth. And that's something I'd really like to get finished. And this is actually an opportunity, because I was distracted. I was driving. When you're driving, you can't be writing. When you're traveling, you can't be writing. And now we've cut out all of the extraneous distractions that I've created for myself. And now I'm just focused. Now it's just me and my computer. As long as my brain is sharp, it's just me and my computer trying to crank out as much work as I possibly can. So I've been forced into this position. I want to tell you just what a departure this is for me to ask for donations, because for 25 years I have been a free public information source for all sorts of useful information, dating all the way back to my Area 51 days, where I would spend a lot of my own resources collecting data, and then I would just give the data away, give the information away, give out advice without any expectation of compensation. For example, back in the Area 51 days, 25 years ago, late 1992 and early 1993, I first arrived in Rachel, Nevada, and immediately started collecting data, because that's who I am. I'm a data collector. And my data went into this book called the Area 51 Viewer's Guide. And you could say that I made some money because I self-published and sold the viewer's guide for $15, but that was nowhere near the cost of assembling this information. So I really made no money distributing information about Area 51. In fact, for my full Area 51 era during the 1990s, I gave tours to countless journalists, print journalists, and TV crews, and during the 1990s, I never charged anyone for anything. I never made any money. I had my own independent income at the time, my own independent investments. I could be 100% self-funded. So I was a public service. I was a free public service during my Area 51 era. And I was a free public service again after 1995 when I became the family court guy in Las Vegas. Again, I was completely self-funded. I collected, at great expense to myself, I collected information about family court, about the law. I assembled newsletters. I wrote philosophical essays. I built databases about family court. And everything that I got was free, given away free to the public. I never made any money as a family court activist. And after that, when I started writing philosophical essays during my travel phase, writing philosophical essays and blog posts with travel advice, and none of that there was no compensation associated with any of that. I gave this information away for free. I also wrote books. I have right now 3 self-published books on Amazon: The Case Against Marriage, and a collection of essays called Kilroy Cafe, and a novel called Harper Junction. These things have never made me much money. So they've my total income from each of those books has never really broken 3 figures. Even though people have said that some of these works have changed their lives. People have said that, one essay I might have written has totally changed their perspective, or The Case Against Marriage has totally changed their perspective on marriage. So I've always been in this non-profit entity, this all 100%, nearly 100% self-funded entity. So this little shift that has happened only today, where I am now asking for donations, this is a big change in my life. Not embarrassed about it. I realize it's necessary. It's just something I need to get used to. I need to wrap my head around. And it's necessary because I have expenses and no income, and there's no other way. Now, why would you want to give? Why would you want to donate to me? Well, there's several reasons. One reason is that maybe in the past 25 years I've touched your life in some way. Maybe there's something I gave away for free. Maybe there's some video that influenced you in some way, or some essay that influenced you in some way. And now is the time to compensate me for that. You also might have the satisfaction, the humanitarian satisfaction of keeping this guy alive, keeping this guy solvent, and helping him complete some important creative projects. Now, we don't know how much time I've got left, but at the very least, I want to finish off this book, what I think the most important book I can write, which is Demographic Doom. I recorded this huge video, hour-and-a-half long video yesterday on summarizing the book and what I hope to do with it. The first draft is 80% complete. I am ready for help with the book. I can use editorial help. And of course, your donation allows me to continue to focus on this. Now, the advantage here is that since I've lost everything, I've lost my income, my driving service, I've lost the ability to travel, that actually gets me focused because I've got rid of all of the distractions now, and I can wake up in the morning, assuming I do wake up in the morning, I can wake up in the morning and be totally focused on online work and in writing and getting things planned and organized. So I am going to be the most productive in the coming days and weeks. I'm going to be the most productive that I have ever been in my life, trying to focus on the most important things first. I hope to get the Demographic Doom book done, at least into publishable form. Should I be lucky enough to continue on, to have more time on Earth, I have plenty of other important creative projects that need to be written. I have books in my head that need to be written, and maybe if I'm lucky I'll have time to do that. So it's a complete shift to me to be asking for donations. It's never been my style, but now that I'm doing it, I'm embracing it. I hope you can donate. I won't hold it against you if you don't donate. I have no way to reward you. If you give me a lot of money, I've got no real way to reward you or recognize you at the moment. I may think of ways in the future, but you do it out of the goodness of your heart because you believe in me, that you believe that that having me continue to do the things I do is somehow valuable to society or valuable to you. So I guess we've entered into a partnership, a sort of partnership I never anticipated, that where I am relying on you to help me to get by and to help me to continue to do the things that I do. If you value the things that I do, then you'll give to my donation page and meet my modest expenses. Of course, we don't know how long these expenses are going to go on. Right now, I'm just thinking about getting past the next month or two. Should I go on, linger on for years? Well, I'm going to need more funding. Until I get through this next spate of doctor's appointments, we don't really know how things are going to go. When I first learned of all this cancer in my body, I figured, well, I'm never going to live past 2018. Now it's, it could be conceivable I live past into 2019, in which case I've got to pay my $2,500 copay, my $2,500 deductible all over again in January. So I'm going to need funding for that. But we're just getting by. And one satisfaction is, if you fund me, you're going to see me more productive right now than I have ever been in my life. I'll be cranking out stuff every single day, not just about my disease, but cleaning up creative projects, making, securing my legacy, my digital legacy, and hopefully creating valuable new creative projects that will somehow benefit humanity in the long run. So I thank you for donating. I'm not going to hold it against you if you don't donate. I treat everybody pretty much the same. Anyone who has input, useful input to me, I will listen to them. But I hope you can donate. I hope you can help me meet my goals. My goals are pretty much arbitrary. I think I put $4,000 or $5,000 onto my Gofundme page, but we really don't know how much I'm going to need over time. We just have to play it by ear. You want to see what I'm doing. You want to see exactly where my head is. You want to see exactly what my medical condition is. You look in on my Facebook page, where nearly everything I post is completely public. You only need to follow me. You don't need to friend me. And you can see on my Facebook page everything that I do, including new YouTube videos I will also post on my Facebook page. So I hate to be come here hat in hand and ask for money, but seems to be the time for it to happen. And if you find it in your heart to give me some money, I can't tell you how much, then things will move more smoothly for me. I will be more productive. And I hope I keep you entertained. This is my #1 priority as I face possible end of life, is I want to keep you entertained. I want to keep you challenged. And I want to serve as I want this to be my finest hour, where I prove all of my philosophical skills. I'm a philosopher. I've built my life as a philosopher, as an existential philosopher, and this is a perfect opportunity to test my philosophy, put it through the ringer, put my philosophy into combat mode, and show you really how it works. So donate if you can. Don't donate if you can't. And watch this space, and we'll keep in touch.